You have three switches in a room. One of them is for a bulb in next room. You cannot see whether the bulb is on or off until you enter the room. What is the minimum number of times you need to go into the room to determine which switch corresponds to the bulb in next room? So to simplify, there are three switches in a room where one of them is assigned for a bulb in the next room. You can't see whether the bulb is on or off until you leave the room. Find the minimum number of times you have to go into the room to identify which switch corresponds to the bulb in the other room. This question has been asked several times during different analytics based interviews. Give a try before checking the solution. Let me explain the solution now. As I have already told, this three switches and one bulb puzzle is a very famous interview puzzle. The answer to this puzzle is 1. You need to enter the room only once to determine which switch corresponds to the bulb. Let me explain the solution in detail. First, switch on the first switch and wait for some time, say 5 minutes. Now switch off the first switch and switch on the second switch. Now enter the room. If you find the light bulb glowing, then the second switch corresponds to the bulb. If the light bulb does not glow, just touch the light bulb to check if it emits heat. If the bulb exhibits at least some heat, then the first switch corresponds to that bulb. If the bulb does not exhibit heat, then the third switch corresponds to the bulb. Let me repeat the solution now. You need to enter the room only once. First, you switch on the first switch and wait for some times, say some 5 to 10 minutes. Now switch off the first switch and switch on the second switch. Enter the room. If you find the light bulb glowing, then the second switch corresponds to the bulb. If the light bulb does not glow, just touch the light bulb to check if it emits heat. If the bulb exhibits at least some heat, then the first switch corresponds to that bulb. If the bulb does not exhibit heat, then the third switch corresponds to the bulb. Think that you have two identical ropes, which are non-uniform in composition. Each rope takes 60 minutes to burn, but the ropes are not identical, meaning 90% of the rope may burn in 5 minutes and rest 10% may take 55 minutes or any such composition. You don't have any watch but a lighter. How will you calculate 45 minutes? So I will repeat the puzzle. You have two identical ropes which are non-uniform in composition and each rope takes 60 minutes to burn. But their composition is non-uniform, meaning 90% of the rope may burn in 5 minutes and rest 10% may take 55 minutes, or 80% of the rope may burn in 5 minutes and rest then may take 55 minutes, or any such composition. You don't have any watch but a lighter. So the question is, how will you calculate 45 minutes? As it is told in the question, the ropes are non-uniform. It means that if you cut a rope in two halves, then both halves may not take 30 minutes each to burn. But on a whole, the rope will take 60 minutes to burn. This approach is not going to help. So in order to calculate 30 minutes, you only need one rope. So what you can do is burn the rope from both ends. It will take the rope 30 minutes to burn completely. Even though it is non-uniform, but if you burn on both the sides, it's definitely going to take 30 minutes because the composition does not matter since you are not burning the rope from one side. So in order to calculate 45 minutes, the one rope is not sufficient. You need two ropes. Let's call the ropes A and B and follow the below process in order to measure 45 minutes. What you have to do first is burn rope A from both ends and rope B from one end. So rope A will completely burn in 30 minutes. So because it is put on fire from both the ends. As we saw in the question itself, the rope takes 60 minutes to burn. Since you are burning on both the sides, the whole rope will burn in 60 minutes. So when rope A is burnt completely, you have already measured 30 minutes. But the rope B would have burnt for 30 minutes. It does not mean that the rope B is off burnt, but it has already taken 30 minutes and the remaining portion of the rope will burn in another 30 minutes. So at this point, lit the other end of rope B as well. It will take another 15 minutes for rope B to burn completely. So that's how you are going to measure 45 minutes. So I will repeat the solution. So what you are supposed to do is first burn rope A from both ends and rope B from one end. So rope A will completely burn in 30 minutes because it is put on fire from both ends. When rope A is burnt completely, rope B would have burnt for 30 minutes. So it does not mean that rope B is off burnt. At this point, lit the other end of rope B as well. It will take another 15 minutes for rope B to burn completely. So that's how you have measured 45 minutes. Three ants are walking in the same direction. The first ant has two ants behind him, the second ant has one in front and one behind. But the third ant has one in front and one behind too. How is this possible? Let me explain the solution now. The most widely accepted and logical answer to this riddle is the ants are moving in the same direction but in a circular manner, not in straight line. Let's say the ants are A, B, and C. A has B and C behind him, B has A in front and C behind, and C has B in front and A behind. In this way, third ant has one in front and one behind too. There can be other solution to this riddle. Do share yours in the comment section. But the most widely accepted answer to this riddle is the ants are moving in a circular manner. There is an escalator and two persons move down it. A takes 50 steps and B takes 75 steps while the escalator is moving down. Given that the time taken by A to take one step is equal to time taken by B to take three steps, find the number of steps in the escalator while it is stationary. Let me explain the solution now. Let us say that the escalator moves at the rate of n steps per second. Let us also say A takes 1 step per second and B takes 3 steps per second. Let's solve this problem case by case. So in the case 1, when A is coming down, A will take 50 seconds to complete 50 steps. In 50 seconds, escalator would have moved 50 n steps. Total number of steps on the escalator can be represented as 50 plus 50n. So in the case 2, when B is coming down, B will take 25 seconds to complete 75 steps in 25 seconds. Escalator would have moved 25 n steps. In this case, total number of steps on the escalator can be represented as 75 plus 25 n. So total number of steps on the stationary escalator is a constant. Combining case 1 and case 2, we can represent equation like this. 50 plus 50n equals 75 plus 25n. This is because number of steps are constant. After solving this equation, 25n equals 25 n equals 1. So total number of steps equals, consider the case 1. According to the case 1, the equation is 50 plus 50n. Now substitute the value of n, 50 plus 50, which is equal to 100. So the total number of steps is equal to 100. Four people need to cross a bridge at night. Unfortunately, they have only one torch and the bridge is too dangerous to cross without one. The bridge is only strong enough to support two people at a time. Not all people takes the same time to cross the bridge. A takes 1 minute to cross the bridge, B takes 2 minutes to cross the bridge, and C takes 5 minutes to cross the bridge, and finally D takes 8 minutes to cross the bridge. As I have already told, there is only one torch with them and the bridge cannot be crossed without the torch. There cannot be more than two persons on the bridge at any time, and when two people cross the bridge together, they must move at the slower person's pace. The question here is, what is the shortest time needed for all four of them to cross the bridge? The initial solution most people will think of is to use the fastest person as a guide everyone across. If that is the case, it will take 17 minutes to cross the bridge. And this is not the right solution. Let's brainstorm a little further to reduce the amount of time. Let's check now how that can be achieved. At first step, 1 and 2 cross the bridge. Here the number represents the time taken by the corresponding person to cross the bridge. 1 comes back and total time taken in this case is 3 minutes. Now 2 is on the other side. At second step, 5 and 8 cross the bridge. 2 comes back. Time taken will be 8 plus 2, that is 10 minutes. Now 5 and 8 are on the other side. At the final step, 1 and 2 cross the bridge and time taken is 2 minutes. Now all are on the other side. Total time spent is 3 plus 10 plus 2, that is 15 minutes. And this is the shortest time needed for all four of them to cross the bridge.